Hi, friend, and welcome back. I am so honored and so grateful to have you here, as always. For those of you that are new here to the channel, my name is Lauren Dorsey. I am the podcast host for the channel. The channel is a place to receive downloaded and channeled insights, transmissions. I am an intuitive, a spiritual guide and mentor, and often I get these kind of just riffs or spiritual transmissions that come through here, and I need a place to put them. I used to channel all of this into writing, and lately I have felt like the messages and the guidance and this like sacred wisdom that comes through is coming through so quickly that I almost need to speak it and write it at the same time to fully get it out. Sometimes it's not as easy to articulate. So here is your upfront warning and little disclaimer here that if my words seem like I'm fumbling or I'm stuttering, it's because I'm truly in channel mode. This is unfiltered, unedited. This is strictly me channeling the divine guidance, the sacred wisdom, and sharing it with all of you. So, all of that said, I've been feeling this urge to create this podcast about the difference between setting a goal, right? Our desires and setting intentions. And here we are, it's February 5th. No surprise here as I look at the clock, it is 2:22. So loving that. There's a little divine guidance for all of us, a little synchronicity letting us know we're on the right track here. But we're in February. I talk a lot about this in previous episodes about what the true new year truly means to me. I'm using air quotes. You cannot see them, but I'm not really all into this January 1st, new year, new me, new life. January 1st, of course, is a new fiscal year on the calendar, right? So for those of us who have to live human life, yes, the calendar does turn and we do have to follow that. Yet I am also very much for being and living and embodying life in sync with nature, with the cosmos. And there are a lot of different cultures and belief systems. So the true turning of a year happens at many different times. February 1st, we just had Imbolc, which is a Celtic tradition, which really honors the turning of the wheel towards the light. We are moving closer to spring. So if you are someone who works or believes with the cycles of nature, right, being in sync with nature, then spring is really the time of renewal, when seeds that were planted begin to break the soil, right? I don't even want to say blossom and bloom, but really just breaking through the soil and then blooming, right? It's this slow progression. And then also February 17th, there's all this talk about the year of the snake into the year of the horse. And I think a lot of people had this idea that January 1st, all of the sudden we were in this year of the horse, and that's just not the case. This transition happens on February 17th is when the Chinese New Year flips over into the fiery year of the horse. And there's also the zodiac, right? The Chinese zodiac, where many believe that Aries season is the start of the new year, the new zodiac year. So depending on your culture, your belief systems, we see a lot of this January 1st, new year, new me, set your goals, set your intentions. And while some of that is necessary for the fiscal year, the calendar year 2026, right? Especially for those of us in business or, working day jobs and things such as that, there's still this feeling for many of us that are feeling disconnected from that. And what I find happens with a lot of my clients and in my community, and even in my own life, is I see all of this external pushing for setting your goals and, let's go, it's a new year. And a lot of us are just naturally feeling out of alignment with that. And when we're watching all of this take place on the external and the internal is not matching up with that vibe, with that feeling, we begin to feel like we're wrong, like something is wrong with us, like we're behind or we're broken. And then we start questioning, right? Like it's the winter. I'm here in Pennsylvania. We get all the seasons. It's a cold one this year. Everything is covered in snow. This is very much a hibernation season. It's February. This is not the time for me in this area to want to be out in the spotlight, out in that energy of the sun, right? Hitting and smashing goals and doing all this very masculine sun energy when the world right now, the collective energy right now, is actually in this season of hibernation, in this season, I should say here in Pennsylvania and maybe even in our country, in this season of winter. So what tends to happen is for those of us that are not really aware or in tune with these cycles of nature and in sync with different cultures and belief systems, we can start to feel like it's us. That's the problem, right? So what I really hope to, and 555 on my timer here as I get that across. Apparently these angel numbers and synchronicities are dropping in hot for this episode. So keep track of those. You know, if something lands for you, make sure to look up that angel number meaning and relate it to how it's landing for you. As I was saying, is that this episode here is to remind you that no, not to sound like a cliche, coachy, spiritual, trendy meme here, but you're not broken. You're not behind. This is, a season that is designed for you to still be inward. I want you to think about, like we talked about this spring, when those seeds are originally planted is not at the same time that they bloom. Okay, when you are starting to plan out your garden and your, the seeds that you wish to plant is a totally different time from when you actually plant them, and a totally different time from when they actually break soil, a totally different time from when they bloom and when we harvest, right? So keeping that in mind is that there is an entire cycle to nature. And we are beings of nature. We are living, breathing beings of nature. So despite what we're seeing on the outside about this new year, new me, hit your goals, do this, do that, honor where you're at, honor what you truly feel inside, and do not, for the love, do not allow yourself to shrink into this feeling of not enoughness, of something is wrong with me, yet another year again, I can't get with this, I can't make my goals happen. Be mindful of all of this projected energy onto you to take this in as your truth. Now, all of that said though, I really want to talk about the differences between setting goals, having desires, and setting intentions, creating intentions. And I may ruffle a couple feathers here in the mindset and entrepreneurial world, but I want you to truly hear me and listen to this episode with an open heart and an open mind. Really hone into your curiosity here, right? And as I always say, question everything, even what I am saying to you. That's a quote that a friend shared with me a long time ago, and I truly live by that. But here's what I'm feeling is mostly coming through about this, especially this time of year. Your goals, setting goals, and again, I'm using air quotes that you cannot see, but your goals are what is keeping you small. Goals are truly rooted in scarcity. I want you to hear me on this. Goals, at the root, at the very core of their creation, are rooted in scarcity. And here's why. When we sit down and write out a vision board, and we are writing our goals down on paper, and whether you're looking at this as a fiscal year and here's the projection where I'd like to land, setting a goal is like hoping that it can happen, right? The energy or the essence of a goal is like, yeah, and then we're even taught, and don't get me started on this in the mindset world of setting SMART goals, right? Smaller, attainable. No, we're taught, literally brainwashed into thinking small and into keeping our goals rooted in this idea of hopefully I can get there. And if I keep it small enough, then I'll be able to reach it and I won't be disappointed. Like, can you really think about this idea of what we're taught about goal setting? There's a totally different vibration. There's a totally different frequency to setting an intention. An intention says, I intend to achieve this. I intend to have this. So when you're going about your, air quotes again, new year, right? We are setting intentions, not goals. Our goals are rooted in, I hope to do this one day. I hope to achieve this one day. Our intentions send that frequency out into the universe, out to spirit that says, this is what I intend to create. This is what I intend to receive. This is what I intend to embody. This is not what I hope for. This is not just what I'm dreaming of, right? Because even dreaming and desire can have a little bit of a root in scarcity there as well if we're not mindful about how we're going about dreaming, right? So you'll learn this in many, many different mindset and manifestation courses that you need to embody the frequency of your goals, of your desires, right? Yet if we're not taught how to fully embody that frequency, first of all, if let's just say on a scale from 1 to 100, left to right, I'm not about that above or below stuff, but let's say on a scale from 0 to 100, you have to find which frequency is my new car vibrating on. First of all, we don't know that. Second of all, you have no idea how to get to that frequency if you're on 40 and that one's up on 60, right? Like we just have no idea how to identify with this. We have no idea how to embody this. What we're doing is shooting out something, it's like throwing a dart and just seeing where it lands. Let's hope, right? But when we start this process with an intention, that is a totally different frequency. That frequency is I'm already there. I'm declaring this over my life. I already have it. It's a matter of just allowing it to drop in. I intend for this to be done. Here's the other thing that happens when we talk about intentions. We hear all the time in this coaching community in this world about becoming the version of yourself that can hold it. Now, this is whether we're talking about mindset work, nervous system work, spiritual work, or all the above, because let's face it, we need all of them, right? We talk about your becoming the version of you that can hold this, not just receive it, but hold it. When we're setting a goal, this goal is, we're looking at it as some future thing, which then we have to become a future version of ourselves. And then everything is out in the future, out in the future, out in the future. The key piece to this that I feel a lot of us are missing is that ability to quantum experience, okay? So quantum leaping, quantum jumping is or quantum manifestation, we hear this word quantum all the time, right? Meaning, we keep pushing something out into the future. And then every time we get a little bit closer, it's like, oh, well, instead of 100K, I think I'm going to go to 500K, right? And we keep pushing it out, pushing it out, pushing it out. But when we set an intention, we are quantum, we are collapsing that entire timeline and we are quantum leaping into that frequency right now. You don't need to know on a scale of 0 or 1 to 100 what frequency that new car is on or that money is on, or even the frequency you're on, right? You are declaring right now over your life, and the power is in our mind, the power is in our energy and our belief. You are declaring right now over your life, I intend this to be so. I intend for this to be done. You've just collapsed an entire timeline. You've shifted an entire timeline simply in shifting the idea of how you are creating this. Am I setting a goal that hopefully maybe one day I reach? Or am I setting an intention that this will be done? And then when we set our intentions, and going back to that term about the becoming, our intention is I intend to show up more for this future outcome. I intend to improve my morning routines or my daily routines. I intend to do better with my money and my finances. One for me this year, and I'm fully transparent, one for me this year was those money leaks, right? How many of us can relate to that? You'll have to let me know down there in the comments if that landed for you. Is like, how many subscriptions do we have? Whether it's through apps in your phone or YouTube and Zoom and all these different things, and they just randomly come out $2 here, $5 here, $10 here, and especially with Amazon. I mean, my gosh, I had Amazon Prime. I assumed that with that included Amazon Music and all these other. No, these are separate things I've been paying for. I really set an intention to get so clear and an integrity with my money. And this was a wealth frequency that I needed to upgrade for myself because I was just leaking money places. And it's almost like, I feel like a lot of us can relate to this. When it's like you go to the Dollar Tree and you're like, but it's only $1. Well, it's not $1 anymore, but it's like, it's only $1, it's only $1. And next thing you know, you just spent $50, right? It's the same idea where it's like, money is just leaking everywhere in these small little increments. And over time, yes, that added up. So for me, it was about getting an integrity with my finances, with my wealth, making sure that I was sending out the proper signals around wealth, right? Like, yes, I wish to receive. And also, I'm not willing to just blindly pour and leak money out everywhere, right? So I was kind of like, plugging the holes, so to speak, around my money and my finances, right? So that's an intention, totally different from goals, because in order to embody more wealth, right? And this, again, I'm using air quotes here, but there's a higher self version, right? Who's the wealthy woman, is not just carelessly leaking money everywhere, right? She's embodying integrity with her finances. She has integrity around her finances. So for me, it was about, I'm setting the intention that I'm not allowing money to leak out anymore. I'm being more discerning with these apps and these subscriptions. And I mean, here's another example. We use Instacart delivery sometimes for our groceries. I had no idea that with our Instacart subscription, we had the Peacock TV channel for free. So on top of paying my Instacart subscription, I could have been getting Peacock for free, and here I'm paying for Peacock, right? So it's just these little ways of getting more in alignment and more in integrity with my money. So this was a big step for me in setting intentions and becoming this version of myself that I needed to be a wealthy woman. I'm not creating vision boards and plastering 100K and pictures of money all over my phone and my vision boards, although those things are very helpful, right? Because that's the visual, it's constantly in your awareness. I actually had to set an intention to become that version of me. So my point in this is that maybe, if we look at it this way, where you understand that the goals are just, we go to a vision board party or we write out our goals in our journals for the year. And it's like this once and done idea of, here's what I hope to receive or achieve in the year 2026, right? Or 2027, whenever you're listening to this. Here's what I hope to achieve and receive. And then we close it up. We stick the vision board up on the wall. The party's over. We go home. And what is the other word I'm looking for, please? Thank you. Resolution, right? We set these New Year's resolutions. I learned a statistic that blew my mind because I would have at least thought it was like 3/4 of the way through January. No, actually the statistic shows that most people abandon their resolutions by day 3. 3. And that takes me back to the beginning of this episode where we talked about, well, first of all, because January 1 is not the time for these things to start taking place yet. And also because all we did was throw something random out there. When we switch this over, right, we shift into the frequency of intention. These are the intentions that I am setting. I intend to be, to receive, to have. When you intend, when there's intention, there is no question whether or not this will be done. When you set a goal, I'm going to run like heck and hope like heck I can get there. you can feel into the difference between those two. You can feel the different frequency in that. I mean, even just talking about it, it's like when I talk about setting goals, I feel this like, this feeling in my body. When I think about and talk about setting intentions, I feel this like openness, this expansion. I feel like my body can breathe. I can flow. When I talk about a goal, it's like immediate anxiety, like, oh my gosh, what if I don't do it? What do I have to do? Oh, that's so embarrassing. I put this out there. I said I wanted to reach this. I said I wanted to do this. How am I ever going to do this? My mind starts going, right? It's because it's being rooted in that scarcity frequency, that scarcity mentality. Of course, that creates this kind of ick off feeling in the nervous system and in the body, because immediately we're going into survival mode. I said I had to reach this. Now I got to do what I need to do to get there. Yet, take a breather. When we shift into intention becomes, I already know that this is done. I already know that this is happening this year. I intend for this to be my truth. I intend for this to be my reality. There is no question. There is no anxious or anxiety about this because I already know that it's done. This is a key distinction here. And I'll be the first to admit, because I used to teach money courses. I've attended many money courses, wealth consciousness. I've studied it. I've embodied it. I've taught it. And even I was missing that key distinction for a little while there. It's like, yeah, well, how do we actually embody this? Oh, you do the nervous system work. You do the, neuroplasticity and belief recoding and all. I did all the things. And what has come through for me, and if you followed me for a long time, you have probably watched my spiritual journey evolve quite a bit. Like I was I was the performative spiritual person for a really long time. Like everybody had to see me with the crystals and know that I did this. And there's a difference between embodying and teaching, yes, but it's like when it's constantly in someone's face and it just becomes your identity, there's a difference between like your identity and your way of life. Okay, your spirituality doesn't need to be loud. You don't have to dress a certain way. You don't have to wear the crystals. You don't have to do the things. Of course, if you want to, do it. But this is about true embodiment. So now it's like you might see me talk about different things on my social platforms that you're like, this is interesting coming from her, right? You might see me doing different things where it's like I've gotten to that place now where I'm like, oh, this is grounded presence. This is embodiment. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. So this key distinction, it was always like, well, what ritual do I have to perform? What manifestation technique do I have to do? What's the right affirmation I have to say? What's the right, words I have to use in my ceremony or my prayers? And it's so performative. The key distinction is truly dropping in to being the embodiment, the way of living. I'm not hoping. I'm not praying. I'm intending. I'm embodying this. There is no more question about it. Now, I want to also be very clear. It's taken me these courses, these programs, coaches, mentors to get here. Right? This wasn't just, I kind of did just wake up one day and have this aha moment, but there were years before that I was always highly intuitive. I was always a psychic. I just had no idea what that was. I had no idea how to use that. I had no idea what it meant or what was happening. I had no idea how to really ground it, right? And how to use it. I was not supported. I was not mentored through that. And all of a sudden, as I really embraced my spiritual path, I started meeting other people and understanding, oh, this thing that happens to me is actually this. That's how it unfolded. So I am not minimizing or discrediting any piece of my journey, even the performative parts, because it kept me in, I would say, embodiment in the best way that I knew how at the time. Once I was able to open the channel and really start channeling and tapping in and connecting to what I believe is my sacred truth, my soul truth, into my inner knowing, It's not about following influencers online. It's not about following these coaches online. And again, I'm not discrediting them. I needed them. I still do. I still work with coaches and mentors, but I would hold on. I would like idolize them, put them on pedestals and hang on to every word because I was so curious. I was so hungry to understand this, to shift into this world, into this life, that I wanted to understand it all. And so I would take on everything that they said as true until I finally learned, and this is, I'll do a little shameless plug here. This is what I teach inside of Soul Shift, which is my signature offering. It is a journey into and through the soul. This is about really meeting yourself at the soul level, right? This is the work that took me into this journey of truly being able to not only know and understand my purpose, but to also learn to trust myself, to use my own intuition, my discernment, to have authority in that, to build confidence in that, right? To get to this place where it's like I can truly stand in my truth so unapologetically. And that journey is how I've gotten here into this grounded presence of, I'm not hoping, I'm not praying, I'm not wishing, I'm not looking for another ritual, I'm not joining another 21-day challenge unless it's because I really want to start embodying the energy of it, right? It's like the reason I'm joining a 21-day challenge is to be in the energy and the essence of it. It's not because I'm hoping to learn some like best kept secret of manifestation. It's not because I'm hoping to learn another secret. The secrets are already within us. What we need to be learning, and maybe this is an aggressive statement or a bold statement for me to be making here, but it's my truth and my belief is that what we need to be learning is how to listen to ourselves, how to find these key, these key distinctions, these little, moments of truth within ourselves, not from someone else. So it shifted when I started hiring coaches and mentors that taught me how to connect with myself, not copy their, rituals and their routines and all these different things, because let's face it, how much money and time has been dumped into coaches and healers and all these things just to duplicate their stuff, their routines, their processes, their journey for it to not work for us. And then all of a sudden one day you come across a coach like myself. Just kidding. I mean, kidding, but not. But you come across the coaches that really, and the healers and the mentors that really, really take you on a journey inward. Without this codependency, without this, I don't know how to get back inside of myself without their guidance, without their leadership. I don't know how to create wealth for myself without their rituals, without their daily routines, without their next course. And listen, I just want to throw this out there. I'm a huge, huge advocate for coaches and healers and mentors. What I am really hoping to emphasize here and really hoping what you'll receive from this is that your coaches and your mentors and your guides and your healers and your light workers, they are here, and even your shadow workers are here to guide you back home to you. So when you, I know this probably seems like it spiraled a bit, but when you are able to fully drop in and connect into the root of you, your soul, your truth, into your authenticity, and I'm just going to throw this out there, being real and honest is not the same as being authentic. But when you're able to tap into that, you start showing up to these spaces, you start investing into these spaces so differently. And when that happens, you start receiving so differently. You start activating these parts inside of you so differently. You start creating and embodying this life that you were once hoping for, dreaming of. That shift has nothing to do with the coach, with the mentor, with the healer, with the light worker, the shadow worker. It has everything to do with you. It's with you returning home to yourself, making that shift within yourself, really embodying the grounded presence. This sacred soul wisdom is available to all of us. Intuition, available to all of us. My Inner Oracle Pathway program teaches you how to activate and tune into your own intuition. You're going to find every program and every course that I offer is not about teaching you my routines. It's not about teaching you my processes. I share some, of course, that have worked with me, but it's about guiding you back to you. My process is my process. I want to help you create your own. I want to help you tap into what's true for you. If you've listened to or read my book, Aligned, it's a 90-day guided experience journal and workbook. There's a whole section in there that teaches you how to recreate a routine for you. It's not a book that teaches you what I do every day. It's a book that teaches you how to find what is best serving you and your higher self. We don't need carbon copies. We don't need duplicates. We need to be embodying our individuality, our uniqueness. If we were all sent here to this earth as spiritual beings in a human body to have a human experience, yet we believe that each one of us has a mission and a soul purpose, you are not going to find your soul purpose in another being. You are not going to find your soul purpose by hoping and dreaming and wishing. You find your soul purpose by journeying inward and then intending for nothing less than that. Setting your intentions that this is your life now. And whichever part feels like there's still a little bit of a timeline in between there, there's still a little bit of a distance in between there, this is where we set the intention to become that. For me, yes, I want to receive more money. I want to embody wealth. Why? Because I believe that money and wealth belongs in more good people's hands. Wealth, prosperity, money, abundance, call it what you wish. That's how we create change. We need money in the hands of the right people. So for me, I want to embody wealth. Well, how do I embody wealth? What do rich people do? What do wealthy people do? They're not leaking money. So for me, this was about getting in alignment and setting intentions to be more in alignment with, or more in integrity with wealth, with being a wealthy woman. For some people, that looks like designer bags and, whatever else. For some people, it looks like traveling more. For some people, it looks like, having no debt. There's so many different ways that wealth and success land for each different person. For me, it's because money is what creates change. When money is in the hands of the right people. But each and every person is going to have their own view of this, and we have to stay in alignment with our own truth, with what's true for us. I have zero judgment or even opinion on people whose version of wealth is designer handbags and, luxury living, because that is a part of their path, their mission, their purpose. If it's something they desire, it's meant for them. For me, it's about traveling, exploring different cultures and countries and having the money to be able to do that, to go get out into the community, to give back to those communities. You may not realize this, but when you travel to other countries, you are pouring into their economic systems. You are spending money there. I just had a conversation with a friend recently. It's her birthday and she wants to plan a big trip. And she said, well, I really want to go here, but I really think this country needs our money. So I think I'm going to plan it there and we're just going to make the best of it. We're going to find something to do because I want to put my money there. That's more in alignment with how I view wealth, right? So when you are looking at your, here's my air quotes again, year ahead, this is about what do you intend to embody? What are you desiring now? Okay, because it's got to start there. I understand we have to start with a desire. We didn't really get into that, but this is getting a little bit long. So here's what I'm going to say about desire. Everything starts with a desire, but it's important for us to be able to identify or connect to that desire and fully understand what it truly is. Is this the hope and a dream? Or are you fully trusting that if this is a desire on my heart, then it's a nudge from spirit, it's a nudge from the divine, it's my soul pushing myself forward, and my desires are my little hints towards my soul purpose, towards my divine mission here. That's how everything, our intentions, everything is rooted in our desire, because our desire is our nudge from our soul, our spirit, our higher self. You can call it what you wish. Those are the nudges. It's important, though, that we move beyond desire. We don't just write it down and call it a goal, that we move beyond desire and we start intending to become that desire. We intend to be, to embody that life. I truly hope that this landed in the way that I intended it to. Again, I record these unfiltered, unedited. I'm not concerned about how I'm articulating things. I channel, I speak it in a way. And for those who don't know me, I'm not here to relate to everyone. I am here to relate to the people that are not so performative and overly, we don't need the spiritual lingo. We don't need to talk about becoming and codes and keys and all the things. You need real life. When I talk about being in the grounded presence, you need real life words and analogies to fully understand how to truly allow your spirituality to be a way of living, not performing, embodying. So when I try to articulate these messages and they don't sound so fancy and luxury and, like I'm dancing around on an island in my white gown somewhere, or, performing rituals out in the forest somewhere, it's because I'm not. Because I do all of those things, and I also embody my very humanness, the very human side of me that we as spiritual beings have come to feel. We've come here to experience. So we don't want to lose that part of ourselves either. So all of that said, I hope that this was helpful. I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear how this lands for you. Please drop it in the comment section. Share this out if you know someone, whether it's in your team, your company, your family, your friend circles, anywhere at all, who you think could benefit from hearing this. And I will be doing giveaways for those who do so. So let me know in a comment, share this out, let me know that you shared it. And when you do, I will be entering everyone into a drawing for a free Oracle Soul reading with me. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this monthly or quarterly or how this is going to go just yet. But let's chat. Let's talk about this. Drop it in the comments. Let's get some engagement going. And I hope to connect with all of you again soon.